Hi again, this is Andrew from Nomads Unplugged, and today we're going to be going through the process of planning a trip in the new WikiCamps. I'll be taking you through this process on an iPad, and I'll try to add a site while offline just to see how that works. So I assume you've already downloaded the WikiCamps Australia app from the Devices App Store, and that you've paid a $9.99 license, which allows you to plan a trip. So we're going to create a trip. To do that, we could start at our current location and then incrementally add sites, which is really suited to things like doing a big lap. Alternatively, if we're planning on going to a specific location and then returning, we might plan an out and back trip. And for this example, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to assume that we're starting at home on the Gold Coast, not that I live on the Gold Coast, but just for this example, and that we want to go to the Mundi Bash in Mundi, just west of Broken Hill in August 2025. So let's begin creating our trip. Firstly, we click on Plan over here on the left, and you see we come into the trip planner. I've already got a number of trips in here. We then go to the bottom right, create a trip, click on that. We give our trip a name, so let's call it Mundi 2025. You'll see here that we can enter budget details. If I hover above or click on the information icon, I can do some fuel economy calculations. So I'm going to do that. I'll enter my vehicle's fuel consumption per 100 kilometres. I'll say it's 18 because that's about what it is. And the estimated average fuel price per litre, I use diesel, and I'm going to go to Outback New South Wales, so prices will be higher than they currently are. So I'll just assume it's $2 per litre. That's all I do, then I can create a trip. So I've got confirmation, trip created successfully, and then an instruction. Next, add a site or custom place to your trip. Now, before we do that, we are going to add a trip cover photo. And that's as easy as clicking on Add Trip Cover Photo. Then you can select from gallery, or you can take a photo yourself. I'll select from the gallery, and I have this photo that I've saved from another website. So I'll just do that. It's uploading the trip cover photo. Nothing in the new WikiCamps is fast. Photo uploaded successfully. Wait a moment and refresh the trip before you'll see the photo. So to refresh the trip, I'll just go back out to trip details, click on this trip, and there's my new photo. Great. Obviously adding a photo is optional, but this next step isn't. What we need to do is add our starting point. So I'm going to click on Add down on the bottom right of the screen, and you can see that I can add to your trip a section, which we will do, a site from WikiCamps or a custom place, visible only to you. Now, because this is my starting point, I'm saying it's where I live, I am going to add a custom place. So I'll click on that. Here again, I get three options. My current location, which I don't want to do, select on a map, or search an address. So I'm going to search an address. So I'm just going to search for Remo Street, Surfers Paradise. There you go, and yep, I'll say that's where I live. So I just click on Continue. Ask me to confirm Queensland, Remo Street, confirm address. So virtual home, place an icon here. So I'm going to do this icon of home. So I do that. There you go, and confirm details. Now it will ask me where I want to insert this. So Smart Insert, which will take you through manually start a trip, end of trip, or after progress bar. Our progress bar is at the beginning, but we'll make it at the start of the trip. So click on Start of Trip. This takes a little while. I should have got my clock running. Oh my God, this is slow. Okay, so that took about 30 seconds before custom place added successfully. And you should see if I scroll down. Interesting. Oh, there we go, just popped up now. Virtual home has been added. One of the shortcomings of WikiCamps, I can click on there and nothing will happen. It won't show on my map. So I'm just going to zoom out. And if I move my map, you should see that that will now show as a location on the map. So there you go, if I zoom in. The next step in the process is to add our destination of Mundi. Before I do that though, one of the things I did try and do was add additional sites, personal sites, by using the map, just so I could record that and show you guys. But every time I did it, it came up with an error message. So I just kept trying different methods of doing it and kept getting error messages. But eventually this site was added, which is RSEV Royal Pines Resort on the Gold Coast. And then eventually I noticed that the site itself has actually been added to the trip. So I tried at the end, I tried to insert manually, all of which gave error messages. You can see those in the bloopers at the end of this. But despite those error messages, it has actually added it to the trip. And now I'm just going to delete them all. So remove from trip, remove place, delete. There you go. So that's it. That's how easy it is to delete a place. All right, I've now deleted those various RSEV Royal Pines Resort, but I do notice that the route from my starting position to the RSEV Royal Pines Resort is still appearing on the map. So another little bug in the system. But what I want to do now is add in my final location. And to do that, I could just click on add and I could do a search as I did before, but I'd do a search for a site from WikiCamps. So I'll click on that and I'll type in Mundy. And you'll see that it comes up with places like Mundy, Lookout, etc. So I'm going to select that. And that takes me over to here in Western New South Wales. It's actually not the final spot I want, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to close that down. I'll change this to a satellite view. I'll click Save. And that location there, as I zoom in, is not the location of the Mundy Bash. The Mundy Bash itself is up here. So it's got Mundy Festival. You'll see the concentric rings, which is the camping area, and then the centre around here is where the music festival actually takes place. But there's no location, so I can't select this. So now I'm going to go through the process of adding a site. You'll see I'm in Explore View by default, of adding a site to WikiCamps itself. So I'm going to click on Add a Site. Adding a site to WikiCamps is easy, built by users, it grows with your contributions. Built by users, don't blame us for your defects. So you need location, site type, fee category and contact info. So I'll get started on that. And I'm going to select on the map. Oh, look, isn't this good? Nothing. Oh, was that the right location? Maybe. Oh, just keep zooming out. Yep, there's Silverton. All right, so I'm going to assume that is the right location. So I'm going to confirm location. Silverton, that's correct. It is a campground. Okay, continue. Site name. There's a cost. Site features. There is no drinking water. Interestingly, there is toilets and showers. Or there is toilets. There are bins. You can have open fires. That's about it. None of these activities and locations apply. There is no dump spot. Seasonal closure. And I'm now going to publish the site. Okay, so that is the fucking wrong location. So that's how you create a new WikiCamps site. So not too hard, even though the location is not exactly where the Mundy Bash is. And I cannot change the location, having created it. I also cannot delete the site. So we're going to edit site. I can't delete the site because it's in the wrong location. So yeah, that's a little bit frustrating. But anyway, like everything else, it's frustrating. So now if I add it to trip, I just take my mouse, click on add to trip, and you'll see there the Mundy trip is my most recent trip. So I will continue, and I'm going to put it at the end of the trip because at the moment all I have is my starting point. So this should create an end point. Site added to trip successfully. So let's go into the trip. Good. By clicking on plan, it's taken me straight into this trip. You see there's the route from my virtual home on the Gold Coast, and if I'm going to zoom out by using the iPad, it takes me the south route. Okay, and you'll see here on the left, if I scroll up on the trip details, that from my home in Surfers Paradise, it's 1,634 kilometres. The reason I put in the fuel information when I created the trip was it does tell me that based on my fuel consumption, I should use 294 litres of fuel at $588. So that's handy. And finally, it tells me that the Monday Bash site is recently added. Okay, now next, I want to update the information associated with my visit to the Monday Bash. I'm arriving on the Tuesday beforehand, which is the 19th of August. So I'm just going to update the details that I've got associated with this. So I just click into Edit Map and I click in my arrival date. So I said my arrival date will be the 19th of August. 19th of August 2025. Save 5. That the routing method, follow roads, straight line or skipping route. So I'm just going to follow roads. I'm going to change this to a diamond. It shows on my trip, and there you go. It's on there, and you'll see that the arrival date of the 19th of August. Now, if I also wanted to add notes, I can do that. Stay details. Save. You'll see that's on there. So that's good. So what's next? Well, if we click on the Add button, so far we've added a custom place, which is our home that we started the journey. We've added a site from WikiCamps. We've actually created a site in WikiCamps before we added it, which is the Monday Bash. And now what I'm going to do is add a section. So this is just organising your trip by creating a section. You'll see that on the left, if I just cancel out of this, on the left at the top, there is this trip section 1 of 1, new trips first section. So there's nothing associated with it. The date has defaulted from the first date that I've applied to any of the sites here. So that's also interesting. And it tells me my total kilometres of the trip, which is assuming it's a one-way trip at this stage. So let's just go through and add a section. And I'm going to call this section To the Bash. And I will insert it at the start of the trip. And there we go. So I've created this new section, To the Bash, and then I still have the original section that was in my trip details by default, and it's still called New Trips First Section. So I'm now going to edit that and rename that section. I'm going to rename it to From the Bash. Done. Excellent. So I've done that, but it's now in the wrong order because my home and my drive to the Bash are after this From the Bash section. So how do I reorder these sections? I just go up to the top right, you'll see there's this reorder button. Click on that. I have two options, reorder places or reorder sections. Now reorder section applies if your sections are in the wrong order. So they don't apply to the relationship between a section and a site. Now my sections are in the correct order, To the Bash, From the Bash. So I want to reorder places. I need to either move these two sites above From the Bash because they're part of the To the Bash section, or alternatively I can just click and drag the From the Bash session to the bottom, and there you see I've got my To the Bash and From the Bash. And you may have noticed that the date here changed. There was no date. That date had been applying to From the Bash. So that's now changed to the 19th of August, which is the date of the arrival at the Bash. So I click on Save. Places reordered successfully, so that's great. Even though that Save button is greyed out, that's because I haven't moved anything. So I can't move anything else because that's gone. I don't want to click on Cancel. But if I click on the back button, you'll see that it has successfully moved the From the Bash section to after the To the Bash section. So I now have two sections. My trip to the Bash and my trip from the Bash. And what I want to do is duplicate my virtual home site and have that at the end of the trip. So I'll click on that little ellipsis, I'll click on Copy Site, and I want to put it to the end of the trip. So I will do that. Custom place copied successfully. You'll now see that we have a return trip to my home, and if I zoom out, you'll see, well, actually you won't see because it's along the same route, but it does take me back home again. Okay, so here's a map of our trip. A few things to comment on. One, the out and back route are both the same, and I like to visit new places, so I'm going to change that. The other one is that each leg of the trip is almost 1,700 kilometres. Personally, I don't like to do more than 300 kilometres a day, so I'm going to now plan out this trip. So I'll take about 6 to 8 days to get there and similar to get back, and I will stop at different points along the way. So how do we do that? So the first thing you'll need to do is consider your constraints and your preferences. For example, if you're towing an on-road caravan, you want to stick to sealed roads. If your preferences are for free camping over caravan parks, then you'll need to consider that. There's 2 ways you can add interim destinations to your trip. One is in the Explore screen, and that's the one I think you'll most frequently use. And the other one is from within the plan itself. And if you're adding destinations from the plan page, there's a few ways to do that as well. Firstly, the standard way will be to click on the Add button on the bottom right of the screen. So if we do that, you can see that we can add section, site from WikiCamps or a custom place. Assuming you want to visit family as you're going through, we might add a custom place. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to search on an address and I'm going to look for 9 Wilbur Avenue in Warwick, Queensland. And what you'll find is that number 9 doesn't exist. And I'm not sure exactly why that would be, whether it's a specific address that doesn't exist in the WikiCamps database or not. But let's just assume that this is close enough for us. So we will continue on that one. And we'll call that Warwick Residence. Now, when you add a new site, the typical places that we will add them is either using the Smart Insert or Manual Insert. Smart Insert, as it says here, lets WikiCamps insert this place based on your arrival date and distance between other sites. Now, this arrival date one is key. We have entered a date for our arrival at Monday. So if our date of visiting family in Warwick is before then, it should insert it before Monday. If after, it should insert it on our return trip. Equally, we can insert manually, and I'll just show you that one. So just click on Insert Manually, and then you click where you want to insert the selected site. So I'm just going to go back. Don't click X here because it will make you enter the whole thing again. Just click back. So if I go back, click on Smart Insert, it will then ask me for a date. So I've entered a date of the 13th of August 2025, which is prior to me arriving at Monday, and I click on Done. Now what you should see on the left here is on the To The Bash, I've got Virtual Home, and then the Warwick Residence has been added prior to Monday. Now, one other little tip is if I go in and change the arrival date, so edit custom place, change the arrival date to after Monday, so the 30th of August, and I save that. I then need to scroll down here and actually save details. If I click the back button, everything I did will have been lost. So I will save details and go back, and you'll see that it hasn't changed in terms of the order that you visit this place in your trip. So you have to manually change that, and that's by going into your resort. If we were to click on Add here in the trip list, it would take us through exactly the same process, so I'm not going to repeat that. The other way we can add a site from within the trip page is, again, to click on Add in the bottom right-hand corner or on the left-hand side. In fact, I'll do it on the left in the trip list. And then click on Add a Site from WikiCamps. And then we have this search functionality. So in here, I could search for a place, and I want to go via Lightning Ridge because I stayed at a great caravan park at Lightning Ridge before. So if I just type Lightning Ridge, you see I've got this list of sites at Lightning Ridge, including the holiday park, golf club, etc. Now, the place that I stayed at was a Big 4, and that's not listed anywhere on here. So I cannot see this Big 4 caravan park. So I'm going to redo the search. As soon as I type Big 4, you see I get a list, but on that list, I still don't see Lightning Ridge. Once I add Lightning Ridge to my search, I do not see Big 4 Lightning Ridge. Now, the reason for that is the search function, as I've determined, only searches on the name of the site. It ignores the address line of the site. The Lightning Ridge caravan park that I'm looking for is actually called the Big 4 Opal Caravan Park. So you'll notice that it has Lightning Ridge in its address line, but that was not found. So I just click on there to add it. Now it's taken me to Explore View. I now have to click on this plus button and add it to my trip Monday, which I will continue. Then whether I want to Smart Insert or Insert Manually, I will insert manually this time, and I'll do it after going to Warwick. So I'll put it here, done. And there we go. But now I have to go back to Plan to see that it has been added to my trip. And it has. So there it is there. The other way to add sites is to go into the Explore view, so I can do that. I'll look at my entire map. I'll reset my filters, so at the moment it's only showing caravan parks. I'll reset filters, click show results, so it will show everything. And I will zoom in now on Cobar. And do I want to stay there? Cobar Old Reserve, it's got a 4.2. Glen Hope Bush Camp, 4.6. Click on the photo. Click on view fees. $10 a night, beautiful. Looks good to me. Go back and then add it to my trip, Monday. And again, I will add this manually. Generally, I actually use Smart Insert, but the list is fairly short, so I'm just going to add them manually at the moment. So I'm going to put that after I've been to Lightning Ridge. Done. Going back to the plan, let's have a look. So you'll see I'm travelling more than my 300 k's a day on a few days. So I'm now going to play around with this and come up with a detailed plan, and then we'll continue. Now, one last thing before I start adding all my points en route, I'm just going to go in Explore view and set up a couple of filters. So I'm going to set up some save filters. So one will just be around accommodation. So I'm going to turn everything off except for the campground and caravan parks. And I'm excluding sites that are temporary or permanently closed. And I'm going to save that as a filter. Done. Okay. Reset filters, show results. Set a second filter, and this one will be around things to do on the way. So I don't want campgrounds and caravan parks. Clicking my save filters, and I've got overnight options and things to see or do, so I've set those up. All right, set to go. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding sites, and the first thing I'll do is restrict my search to just overnight options, and I will select from sites that are en route. Once I've done that, I'll change my filter to things to see or do, and then I'll add things to see or do en route. While I'm building out my plan, I've realised that I do want to change the order of one of the sites. So that the Glen Hope Bush Camp at Cobar that I was going to drop into on the way to Monday, I'm now going to move to the return trip. So I'm going to go into the reorder trip section. I'm going to go down and find the Glen Hope Bush Camp, and I'm going to click it with my finger because I can't use it with my mouse, and drag it down under Monday to change it to the from the bash, and click save. All right, now I can go back. This time I can use my mouse, and you'll see it's now down here. So that's done. Just planning the return trip, and I want to, after going just north of Dubbo, go to Bingara. So there's this Bingara Guida River Commons, which I want to add. So I'll do that, and I'm going to use the Smart Insert. And I'm not going to select a date. I haven't done my dates yet. You see it's been added successfully, but if I go back into plan, I wonder why it's going that way, because I'm hoping to go from Bingara, Guida River, over towards the coast. But what it's done, it hasn't added it after the House of Serenity camping ground near Dubbo, so it's added it earlier. So I need to now go into the reorder function, and I need to find it on here and drag it down. Now, the frustrating thing that I want to just share with you on that one, clicking save and then going out. If I click on the site on the map, it doesn't take me to its location in the list. So I can't easily sort it. I actually have to go and find it. And that's a little bit frustrating. And here's an interesting bug. I've just added Craig's Caravan Park at Tenterfield, and I manually inserted it. So I did it after Bingara and before returning virtually home. So it's not appearing in the list. And I've scrolled through, it's not anywhere in the list at all. That looks to me like it's another bug. So I'm just going to go out of the trip, come back into the trip, see if it suddenly appeared, and look, there it is. Yeah, bug. Now I've mapped out my route to and from the bash. I'm just going through and putting in some dates at different stays, etc. So, and some notes. I just wanted to show you how to do that. So it's really simple. Just add your arrival date, click in here. I need to now use my finger to actually change the dates, which must be a iPad feature. Done, saves it, so I don't have to go in anywhere else, and then I can add a note. There you go, it's that simple. I just reordered a couple of sites, and I'm trying to change the date. So I'm trying to go into this Hospital Creek Aboriginal Massacre site to change the date. I can't just click on arrival date. I actually have to go in and edit details to change the arrival date. Now, not a big deal at all, but just another little tip on how to do things. And remember, scroll down, click on save details at the bottom. That's my trip planned. Once I had the basic routes sorted and I added additional sites, whether they be overnight sites or places to see en route, I used Smart Insert, and I did find that a few were inserted in the wrong order and I had to go in and manually reorder. But other than that, the process was fairly quick and fairly painless. Because I'm going to be off grid for a bit of this trip, I want to download it onto my iPad so that if I do lose telephone and internet access, I can still access it. So what I do is I go into menu and then I go into offline mode, and see I've got this download offline content. Click on that and I've got offline app content, personal content and trips. Now, rather than just downloading the Monday 2025 trip, if I was to do that and then turn everything off so as to test it, nothing appears. What you have to do before you download a trip is download the maps. So you have to go through this process. I think it took me 8 minutes when I did it earlier, so I'll just start it again. And once I've done that, I'll download the Monday and we'll turn everything off and we'll have a look at what that looks like. So download Australia. Quickly gets to 50%. Slows down a lot after that. All right, I've downloaded the map and I've downloaded the Monday trip, and you'll see it's last updated today. So that's great. Now, if I'm to go back into Explore and I was to add something to my trip, there you go, a dump point, that'll do. Smart Insert, don't need a date. Go back into the offline content and you'll see that there's an update available because I've changed it. So I do have to do another download. Make sure you do this before you are offline. Once you are offline, you will not be able to see anything. And I'll show you what it looks like offline. Right, so I've just gone into airplane mode and I've turned up my Wi-Fi and gone back into WikiCamps. And as you see, it says I'm unable to connect, but it gives me then an option down the bottom, traveling offline. If you've previously downloaded offline content, tap go offline. So let's do that. Using offline mode. This is worrying. Oh, there you go. Just took a little while to load. So there's a map of Australia. Now, if I go into plan, I do have 2 offline plans as I was experimenting with this tracking one, but the Monday one is one we're interested in. So click on that. And you'll see that it's come up with my start point. Now if I zoom out, it has my whole trip. And it looks to me like it has everything in my trip list here on the left. I assume I can't add a site. I don't know if I can progress my trip bar. I can, so that's good. But yes, I don't have the option anymore of adding a site. Anyway, that's offline mode. And once you are traveling, you can just grab that trip progress bar, which I've done with my finger here, and just drag it down as you progress. So I'm going to put it back up. There we go. This could be another little bug. So just looking at your trip summary, 27 places I've got. That includes places like water points as well as overnight stops. 3,517 kilometres, 633 litres at $70.34. That does not sound right. That should be $1,266 at $2 per litre. So I'm not sure where that $70.34 comes from. Anyway, that's it from me this episode. I do plan on doing a couple more WikiCamps pieces over the next few months. So please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. See ya. Jesus. Oh, this is... Oh. Oh, gosh. Let's try again. Okay, let's try it here. Start a trip. Resort. And I would move this. And for fuck's sake.
I'm not heading for the stars.